Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome one, welcome all to more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Dual Destiny. I mean, it is the Apollo Justice trilogy, so I mean, I didn't have to cut myself off. I just had to make sure I was saying the right thing. Because both are technically true. It's a Phoenix game, but Apollo's trilogy. If you know what that means. Anyways, I would like to mention something right away. Tonight might go a little later than usual because your girl doesn't have work tomorrow, so she can be up as late as she wants. So I was thinking maybe I could just, completely finish up the Cosmic Turnabout. I mean, we only have like a trial left, right? Like a couple parts of a trial. But I'm also pretty tired, so we'll see how it goes. It's just how it do be sometimes, right? It's just how it do be sometimes. How it do be. How it do be. Anyways, so that's all. I got nothing to update you guys on other than I don't quite know exactly the plans for Donkapong Kingdom. I think I'll be getting more info from Alexa and Random probably tomorrow while I'm sillily playing Genshin all day. What do you expect me to do on my day off other than to sit around and play Genshin? I could be doing because off on the side, I've been doing a Pokemon Heart Gold randomizer. Not a Nuzlocke or anything, it's just a randomizer. But I still, when I do get started on the Pokemon stuff, which will, like I said, will probably be after the season of the Masked Singer is over. So that way I have my Wednesdays freed up. I will be starting with a Pokemon Fire Red randomizer. Because I chose Fire Red because it is the shorter of the two games. And honestly, it's just easier. Because I know more about Gen 1 coming up, even though randomizers, you get to throw all that out the window. Ain't that right? Actually, it's a lie, because in a randomizer sense, I would want to do Emerald because I know the story of Emerald better, because I grew up with Emerald, basically. Like, Pokemon Sapphire was my first Pokemon game, period. Well, I mean, it was shortly followed by Leaf Green, but, I mean, and there's, like, no difference story-wise. And in terms of a Nuzlocke, it literally doesn't matter if I do Fire Red or Leaf Green. But I think I will do Fire Red for the randomizer Nuzlocke because, Gen 1 is just an easier game. In general. But when you throw a bunch of different random Pokemon at it, who knows? Right? I know. But we'll definitely see how things go. But that, like I said, that's going to probably start up with after the season of the Masked Singer. It's coming close to an end, though. I could see by maybe the end of April. I could talk more about it, and that's kind of how it is. How it do be sometimes, I don't know why I like saying do be so much. To be or to not to be. Anyways, let's shut up and play. Let's shut up and let's get our attorney on. I don't want to be. You don't want to be. Aw, that's sad. Why don't you want to be? It's a very important question. I need an actual answer, not just a stupid pun. Wait, where's the judge? Hey, suppose we should reconvene the trial of Simon Starbucks or something? Your Honor, where are you? Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There's no more bombs. I promise. All 3 bombs went off. It will be fine. Oh, yes. My apologies. Also, do you really think your bench would protect you from a bomb, Your Honor? I thought we had canon that the judge is immoral. Because he's never looked a day older than he did in the first game. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. Then Mr. Tomate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tomate. Yes. I do. Words goo. The gooist. Anyways, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tomate's actions. So, Mr. Wright will be taking up the defense. It is, and I don't know what to do about it. It honestly, it feels weird because usually this doesn't happen. Wait, I have an idea of what might be causing the audio. That should be better. For some reason, I had Opera open. Don't know why I did that. That should be a little less CPU being used. Do you have an understanding of what has happened in this trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? We have to ask because last time he was not ready, okay? I'll take it you'd like me to give an opening statement this time. Look. It was a very important... That's what the internet's for, right? Also, it might be something stupid about the... I don't know. Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he certainly seems more than his fair share of good, colorful prosecutors. You could say he's a veteran of some sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Claytarian, escaped from the Launchpad 1, carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The 2 astronauts used the Launch 1 pad corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That's the mystery that needs to be solved. But Mr. Justice proves that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Buckwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. We had discovered that too. Surprisingly, it would appear that the Justice Donor's argument was correct. That means the testimonies of the first 2 people in the scene are suspects. Well, one of the two first on the scene are dead now. So... There are two people who claim to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. Maybe it has to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accused fellow, he killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Buckwill still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Well, Wright said that Buckwill had a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge and that's who killed the victim. To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone to Audie already? Old man. I've been saying this a while. Phoenix is getting old. He's in his 30s. I think Phoenix is supposed to be like 34? Because I believe he's 33 in Apollo's Justice. No, he's 32 in Apollo's Justice, but he's 30. I know he's 34. Then he must be 34 now, because all of Apollo's Justice takes place before October 11th or 12th, which is which when somebody I saw once say it was Phoenix's birthday. So yeah. Well, we see who's the daughter. It's after I trance you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbucks claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person? I see my sister has been running her mouth. Ah, of course you would know his sister is so evil. That's right, I almost forgotten that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbucks is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Considering that one of them is dead now, we have to hear from the arrogant asshole, Yuri Cosmos. He's such a narcissist. God, I keep getting notifications that my frames are dropping. But nothing looks out of the ordinary. I have the normal things open. Like I said, it is probably just a bad internet night for me, which sucks, and it just feels weird because I know this feels like a Friday, but it's really Thursday. That's why I'm streaming. I'm still streaming tonight because, like I said, it feels like a Friday because I don't work tomorrow. But Director Cosmos, huh? Very well. Bailiff, please bring in the witness to the stand. Oh, is he going to be on his little Segway? Ah, he's on his Segway! Why? I believe I've seen you before in the newspaper. Of course you have. Of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was, of course, named after me, Yuri's Cosmos. I told you he was a narcissist. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Unfortunately, we do have things to ask you. Looks like he's always geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and... Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I'm trying to hold back my tears at such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? I see this fine lad yet has the proper appreciation of greatness. Just get to your testimony, please! Then allow me to begin my epilogic testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. I'll be definitely down for history, that's for sure. Have I told you this is the man I think it's the murderer? Or one of my two guys I think is the murderer. It's him, or it's the other guy in the picture that we don't know who it, in that one picture that we don't know yet. Do we have that photo as evidence? We don't. Sag. Or do we? We don't. Or do we? Oh, hey Clay. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's what the Blackwell does best. Pokes fun at the witnesses. And the judge. And Detective Fulbright. He pokes fun at a lot of people. That's kind of one of his quirks. It's probably just for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos. The condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for letting him just get to his point. The only thing I like about him is that he's on a Segway. It's just silly to me that he's just on a Segway at the witness stand. He brought his whole Segway with him. Detective Arms rushed, and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Tyrion lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after the victim has been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity! But it is what I saw, and I saw what I have said, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous actions to take in the face to such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? Why would you still be in the control room, though? You know? To save my men, I personally went into the epicenter of danger. Risking my own life for theirs! Ha 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 ha! Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah. It sounds more like he was just scared and had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Oh, always. Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmo's testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Well, I was gonna press anyways. It's the best thing to do. It's the classic best lawyer tactic we have. Pressing every fucking statement. It is pretty vague for a man who is just like, so glorious, so look at me, so arrogant, so bold, so narcissistic. Pretty vague testimony, you know? Where are you coming from? Where are you? The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers had made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about the Starbuck and Tyrion, so we hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. Oh my. Galactic shooters here, of course. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Of course, it's specially defined to be used on galactic battleships. I see. Then I take it works in 0G too. Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be Gertakically useless. Well, that's a galactic bummer. I see. So you rush to the boarding lounge from your on your space-age pogo stick. And then, Your Honor, it's a segue! And then when you got to the scene, what did you see? Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to the boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in her haste, the detective arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her. I see. So we peeked in the boarding lounge from the control room door and... Wait a So you couldn't see or who that figure was or what they were doing. Sadly, the only thing I could tell is that it was a person, standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? Ah! I'm so close. Without evidence, I can't prove that that person is the third party. I don't have to relish in this. And... you know, also mustard in it either? So you mustard in it. Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the light around their feet at all times. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Tyrion, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might have not been Mr. Starbucks. Is that correct? I would like to believe that it is. Starbucks isn't the type of man who is capable of murder. Objection. Anyone's capable of murder! When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Tyrion were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd. Objection. The reason for the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witness weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold on, Director Cosmo. Did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then the third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite of the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well... If we were just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and a lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of the said moon and for what we've done to it. But I say, where is your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right, I don't have any proof yet. Still, the southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a note of that. Director Cosmo, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha ha! There's actually another tale of my bravery behind the answer to that. When it was when Detective Arms saw the figure raise her gun. Being a great humanitarian protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. Or did you just crawl in the corner and be scared? What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagined her instincts as the detective told her that they were the killer. I don't know about that. And yet you were able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's action sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. And neither of these 2 shots hit the culprit. That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose. But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. So Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info has come out. Wonder if I can find any inconsistencies. I kind of want to do the 1 bullet hole because are you really sure you were paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my words? Words that some will day be written down in the history books! Somehow, I don't think those exact words will ever be written down in any history book. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. Yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was fired only once. And yet Detective Cosmo is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book. Unfortunately for you, the witness words are true. We confirm that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! You should know the answer to that already. I should. During the previous trial, a certain oxygen chain was presented as evidence. We already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. What?! The rifling marks also match up. There's no questions that the bullet that was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? Yes, Your Honor, that we've been over this multiple times. They're also referred to as ballistic markings. As we know every year because of Turnabout for Christmas. Whee! Also known as my yearly lame excuse to replay Turnabout goodbyes. It's my favorite time of year. No, it's not. I say my favorite time of year is Extra Life. And examining the rifling mark on a bullet can tell us what the gun that was fired from. One of the bullets from the detective fired found its way to the holographic image display. The other bullet came to stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statements that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. Wait, what about the bullet we found? That still doesn't explain the bullet we found. So that bullet hole was fired from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, it doesn't! We have a... No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh. Very well, but it won't do us keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. And what is this pellet supposed to be? Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and the prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than the one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers. Then that means... Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire .10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, that explains why Detective Arms fired warning shots. The third person fired at Detective Arm and Detective Cosmo with their gun. In return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! It looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. But what's this now? What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Ha ha ha! Well, great men have secrets there too, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmo really had been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. Detective Arms rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Tyrion on the floor. We were still in the control room. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to be the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have any security lock. Objection. Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one and it's you who's cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness and prevent the possibility of a third person. But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun on his possession when he was found by the police. Nor has the gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them. Objection. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute. Objection. But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. Objection. It's up to you to prove that possibility. I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why the designator switch was found in the Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. I did forget all about that. I actually did forget about that too. Whoops. My bad. Your baldness. How deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-party theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that. Yes, well, I have questions of my own, actually. That bullet from the mysterious shot. What did it hit exactly? It hit me. So that means you're a ghost? I was wondering when you realize that you're baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. Eek! Objection. Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot to Director Cosmos? Ooh. Can we ask Manfred von Karma? He got shot and lived. Ha ha ha! I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting of a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted and thus saved my life. What? That's why we found it in the gutters, apparently. That's unbelievable. I have it to check this out. Oh, wow! Look at that! There is one extra star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to look like a really like the cosmos. is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. You're like the same age as the judge, dude. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Gladly, Your Honor. It's me nodding. We already heard all about that part. Do you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hat One miracle. Sir, we have a stream to do. We don't have time. We don't have an hour or two. Actually, I got all the time in the world. Tell us all about it, Cosmos. I promise I won't fall asleep. Okay, I can't promise that I won't fall asleep. I'm really tired. So, yeah, let's just we're in court though. We should probably wait later and I'll probably ask Starbuck about it. We already know about that too. Tell us something else, something related to this incident. I see. You want to know about the incidents. Well then, let me tell you about the many incidents that were made that made me the man that I am today. We don't need your autobiography. The incidents, aka the murder. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man. We don't have time. You've told us about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. Did I really already tell you all about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked through the control room door and in the lounge we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Tyrion on the floor. But it was so dark you couldn't see this figure's face. Isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat One launch 7 years ago. Nope! If it's about that Hat One miracle again, you can saw it off and tell it to a stray mutt. Ha-ha! Excellent idea! No reason why the animal world should hear about my greatness! And so they shall. But first, your testimony. What happened next? We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. So in other words, you were fired at while you were in the control room's door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Dr. Cosmos, the bullet this person fired at you hit you. Is that right? Yes, it was a miracle befitting of a great history-making figure such as myself. The figure hit me while it was in the control room. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor. In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot at by someone with a .10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder why people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself. So if he's a great man, then I'm king of all the cosmos. No, Phoenix, you're just the king of plot armor, okay? Gosh, there's a difference. Nope. Do I just present the bullet because we were like... Because is that when we bring up that we found it on like the completely other end of the room? Yeah. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me telling a lie. Have you ever heard of such thing in all of history? Yes. Like 10 minutes ago. My accusation is based on the position of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, if you and Director Arms were near in the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge, as if as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh. This trajectory where the bullet was found is actually contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. Don't tell me you're forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet in his middle of this there is no mistake. But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think what? Oh, great, the Director Cosmo. Yes. Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room. To the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south. Is that not right? Yeah. The human merry-go-round, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, what are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must be... Your head must have some other use for... other than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Because it's spiky, Phoenix. It's like the one defining feature you have. Hey, you're not the only defense attorney whose hair gets ridiculed. You know how many people have called Apollo a demon? That was just in the monstrous turnabout. Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene around the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. Ah, that makes some sense, actually. But... Also, the witness being at the southern door is a rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time... Yikes! His handcuffs! Yeah, Director. You will become but a rest upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. All right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, committed perjury, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? But that still doesn't explain where the gun is! The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required a print recognition, and corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was the Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Heck. In short, there would be no escape for any third person there, had there been one. Yeah! My third person just disappeared? Like one in Tracy's magic tricks. Saying a person's a little too big for her panties. Order in the court. Dr. Cosmos, why didn't you tell such an outrageous lie? You just committed perjury, Your Honor, sir. You were covering up for the defendant. Isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my men. I said if I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was to protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for the third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we have come to a conclusion. That's the defense arguments, the possibility of a third person has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Thanks, Phoenix. Sink! This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait! What if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And what if that person entered the lounge? Then they would be the third person. The defense is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for arguments against these claims. I will now render my verdict. Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Are we gonna claim Detective Arms as the killer? I mean, okay, good. We get a not guilty verdict and nobody goes to jail because the detective's already dead! Oh. This has better be good, Mr. Wright. Oh, Your Honor, please. You've seen many of my trials before. There is and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person arrived came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was only accessible to them. Very well. Let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? What? But but that's the man standing on the witness stand right now. Yes, I know that. Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only person with the authority to open the control room door after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. Gyog! What? What? Order! Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. Gladly, Your Honor. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arms and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and, saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. God, I've been hit! I've been hit us on the starboard side! Captain Wright! It's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir! A magnificent shot! Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept! Cosmos, you have total lie in this court once again. I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy has called in reinforcements! I don't know. Earth's Cosmos Control Center requesting permission to ask you to return to reality. But my ship will not go down to anything less than an ultimate weapon of evidence! Objection! But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that's on your battleship bears its scar. Nah. If Director Cosmos is the third person that Aura Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Detective Arms and Director Cosmos with their gun. In return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! It looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned up and shot her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is it's kind of different of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark on that you received on the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one who was in the lounge. Brace for further impact. The 38 thanks, Fake Felt. Thank you so much for the follow. I mean subscription! Thank you so much for the subscription! Thank you so much! Much appreciated. 10 out of 10. I could hear that. I could hear that sound bit a lot much anymore, especially now that I've completed the investigations collection. Well, I appreciate it nonetheless. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure that caliber will match up. If that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we have been looking for. Yeah! The bridge is destroyed, losing altitude. All hands, abandon ship! If that is true, what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by your Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No! You've got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle! I'm not going down yet! Witness, stop this at once and confess to the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that it was a great man, it was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? Gah! But the cosmos revolve around me! Just look at you spinning on his Segway. Ah! Someone get me off this thing! You're the one who's spinning your own Segway, dude. I just want him to stay there a little longer. Make him all dizzy. I'm a great person. Order! Order in the court! And will someone please stop the witness from spinning? No, Your Honor, please let him continue spinning. Phew. Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning it off the face of the earth. You know, he could have just stepped off his fucking Segway, you know? While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running the analysis on the mark of on the metal. Oh. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding. He's going to start piling on more lies. Looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. To be continued. I can keep going. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes! Hey, oh, good evening! Dr. Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me, I am so sorry. So the great pioneer of space development is revealed just to be another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? Yeah! The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. But fine, I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there at the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. Then I went past the elevator and all the way around to the boarding lounge and won again. When I came up behind Detective Arms and pretended to be the second on the scene. What troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am! When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. Now hold on just a minute. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbucks and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you. No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover up for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall. Wait, you're right. It's not. It wouldn't be in Cosmos's. All I want to do is protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent escape route for the third person. Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie is a lie, Asina. So Dr. Cosmos claims that he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? Ah, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes. And? Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation efforts. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll collaborate me. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirmed that he has an alibi for the time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. and that you arrived at the lounge after that. Yes, and I believe the person I saw was the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so if it was more of a shadowy figure than less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of a nursling. As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim that Director Cosmo was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he's really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. There was another guy in that picture we saw at the Space Museum that we don't know who it is. And I'm starting to lean towards the fact that that guy is the killer. He would have been on the in the photo. He would have been like right up of Aura. As I tried to escape, as I entered the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot, but when I tried to get another look, they vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, as well as Launchpad 1's door. And the control room should have been shut tight to the killer. So you were shot out by the killer as well. And then they disappeared? Yes. Though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Tyrion's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Tyrion and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it's actually hit Mr. Tyrion's oxygen tanks and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When the arm caught up and fired the warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmo, I wonder if you could elaborate on when this figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Tyrion with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from the scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of those great mysteries of the cosmos. Silence. A riddle of the ages indeed. But I'd rather know. How a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man always is misunderstood in his own time. But he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was the space boy himself. When he was spotted by the director in Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take up all the mystery out of the idea of the vanishing culprits. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono? I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why didn't you let me help? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord, which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Asina. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss! I wouldn't want to miss this chance to develop into a great mind. You're Cosmos, prepared to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door. And well, the lounge pad 1 door and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Nope. Nope. Oh yeah, it would understandably, but oh yeah, duh, he would have been surprised at that. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet at the time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launchpad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. As for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe, or maybe not, you went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Tyrion, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip through the southern door? I highly doubt it, as you recall, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. Well, she's dead now, so we really don't have her testimony. And yet the director wasn't surprised that the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? It's working, boss. One more punch and it will be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that is odd with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back into the Matrix it is. Wouldn't he also be mad that you didn't get to see them? Okay, no. Thanks, Martyr. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? How was it? What were you playing? Did you have a good time? Oh, hold on. Let me get you a shout out here real quick. Whoops. Forgot to hit the forgot to copy and pasta. Do you have any clips you would like to share with us? You know. Darkest Dungeon. I don't know what that is. How was it? Did you have a good time? Oh. No. I mean, I guess. Oh! Wow. I'm not really huge into like roguelikes, but this, yeah, that one seems pretty normal. These all seem normal. As I try to enter the lounge, could there be any, like... Okay. Let's think. The true color is... Yeah, make sure to eat. Get some sleep. Take care of yourself. Seriously do so. Cause if not, I will find you and I will force you to take care of yourself. God, hit the wrong button again. Nope. Like, this is... I thought that would make sense! Because I thought the blue was usually, like, sadness, too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seemed afraid of the launch pad door. The great Yuri Cosmos afraid? And what bias do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have a bias or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I'm most certainly not. Dr. Cosmos, there's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Gah! Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those two pieces of data and... Yes! Just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo. Let's Discord. Looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Asina. Now it makes sense what we've learned. Director Cosmo wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, he's talking about the door to the launch pad and made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad's one door. When we put those two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? The culprit went through the launch pad 1 doors to escape, didn't they? Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to the starboard. We are going to crash into an asteroid. A master technician, you are not. But the areas beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistency. But that door requires a fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Tyrion, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock. Do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten that past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to pass the security lock. Wouldn't it be Tyrion's? That's Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anyone could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. Or Tyrion's, you know. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints were exactly what we found on the device's screen. Dog! It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Yes, Your Honor, what is it? We would love to hear from you, Your Honor. What would you like to hear it? Yes, Your Honor, we would be delighted to hear your opinions. I'm trying to be nice to the judge because, Your Honor. Huh? Oh, yes, by all means. There's a security camera in the boarding lounge 1, right? The one that recorded the victim and the defendant? What about you? What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might have been recorded in the security footage as well. Unfortunately, Your Honor, then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? It's good logic, Your Honor, but who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell Your Honor? I hope you didn't strain your falsities too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon. Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my! The footage cuts off! The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this. Be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was just a good idea too. It was a good idea, Your Honor. But unfortunately, the killer came prepared with bombs! Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little bit about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I would like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. I had to avoid getting shot. And after the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But it was when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator door. And then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad, right? Nope. Yeah, he would have been much more surprised, right? Director Cosmos? Why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you? Again when she fired. Isn't that a bit unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experienced surprise on occasion. Maybe you just need to take a little bit. You need to take your emotions and just cut them out of your life. Go cold turkey with them. Emotions. I don't have those anymore. Cold turkey. For those who don't know, I'm referencing Sword Art Online Abridged. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me? Like, you were surprised by an arm. Detective Arm. First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, of course, like, you were surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were... Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arms shot at you. But the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whether you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence operation hide under your desk. Ah! Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Nope, there's still more Discord. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door. Whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came into the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. The footage of the door before the Dr. Cosmos arrived. And this door hole except... Oh, the thing that looks like the turner's on a stove! It's turned! Hey, look at that! There is a change! Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you been up to over there? Finding the answer to what you're doing when Detective Arm found you. That's what. And the answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous. If you don't have, you really do have an answer, then you have to point it out already. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. Answer? It's this knob. Also, I'm very scared about how quiet Blackwell has been so far for the past while. I'm very nervous about that right now. Nah! That's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what do you mean? And what does that mean? It means that something between before as the director arrived and after. Someone turned this knob. Gah! After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What are you trying to hide about? What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Nah, fine, I admit it. You're right. I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid that there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Panko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad is fully assembled, it moves to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge must have to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what the knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the launch pad 1 corridor, then they might have been transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The launch pad corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then where did the killer escape to? I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about the moving launch pad in more detail. Fine. But to listen carefully, for I am about to give history-making testimony. You've been saying that all day, and yeah, no, it's not one for the history books. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. I fear that there may be more explosions. So I had to cut the launch pad loose. Surely only the killer had what the only escape the killer had was going to launch pad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke. Confounded, where on earth, where could have they gone? Okay, that makes that angry makes some sense. Surely the only escape killer had was through the launch pad 1. little bit happy about that. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet when you did, you felt some joy, as if you were pleased with yourself. Ah! How did you do it? How did you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up until this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. Ah! How did you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less of a pro at guessing. Of course, Phoenix, of course. You're not just the king of plot armor. You're also a pro guesser. But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And if I did, I would never ever tell you. So there. I know that they say people regress as they grow older, but sir, take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such a great intensity and intelligence and integrity? You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. But Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? I was very nervous when he hasn't said anything for a while. You spouted nothing but falsities since you stepped onto the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyways. Unless you consider great as a bare-faced liar an honor. Liar! Gulp. His words bite harder than his blade. You moved the launch pad at 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves had betrayed you. You know, just a sob, but modern English can be your friend. And here's the thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene. What? Liar! That means the director didn't move the launch pad. Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart content. The liar! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure that pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we might just find where the killer escaped to. You're sure it must have went somewhere? We might just find what? Your argument is nothing but contra, bluffing and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Are you not man enough to, boy? Yeah! Talk about hitting the below the belt. You youngins these days. Phoenix, literally stop showing that you're old. We get it. You're in your 30s. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after him coming to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh! Wait a minute. Maybe have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you lathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then after the incident, the Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after discovered the crime scene. Oh, right, because if the launch pad was at the launch site, Tyrion and Starbuck couldn't have gone back to the boarding lounge. The fact that has been recorded to the Prosperies on the film. Oh, right. To retaliate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Ah! Yunnings these days. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be faked, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. Hey, by the way, you wouldn't be the first person who gives the Phoenix a stupid idea like this. Last time we cross-examined a bird. And we do it every year for Turnabout Christmas. I don't have dates for Turnabout Christmas yet. It's too far out for this year's Turnabout Christmas, which will be a face cam special. Huh? Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead were in another place? And what if the director moved the launch pad one back, and it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existence of bull or I'll cut you. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right. It's all the other way around. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmo's reasoning for moving the launch pad 1 was... because he wanted to trap the true killer. Right, Dono. Need I remind you that there was an explosion. That corridor between the launch pad and the lounge was thick with smoke. If the killer had been trapped in there, they would have been found as dead as their victim. I guess you're right. Well, I'm glad that you both agree. Now where's the penalty? Now here's a penalty for you, Mr. Wright. I don't agree with that penalty, though. Your Honor, please give me another chance. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what he could have possibly switched the launch pad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what he wanted to switch to with launch pad 1. The Space Museum. Oh, present. Nope. Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum? In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1. It can even be moved around the launch site. Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can be switched with each other. You can't mean. The rocket and the astronauts boarded was not in the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Balderdash! And yet, there's only one explanation that accounts for every riddle in the inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And with the two switched, like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding Lounge 1. That's allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 and from boarding Lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding Lounge 2. Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone could have passed through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, somebody other than Mr. Starbuck has easily planted that bomb. God! After setting the bombs on the rocket, the culprit snuck onto boarding lounge 1 and waited there concealed. Another order to kill Mr. Tyrion when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell and Mr. Starbucks and the director all saw a suspicious figure. Who can we suppose after killing Mr. Tyrion made their escape into the Space Museum? After that, Director Cosmo switched the two launch pads back, without realizing that the killer was inside the Space Museum. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Yeah! Right, Dono. I see you know how to handle a sword, and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Swordmaster Bluff. I am a seasoned warrior who has cut down many of prosecutors. A calm your roll, Phoenix. It's only been 3. I would say 4, but Phoenix never really had to deal with Caliber other than one case, and it was the case he lost his badge. Silence. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That is right, you have no proof that I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there has to be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other, so the corridors beyond the doors would be the ones that belong to the Space Museum. Let's see, this is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff... Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. That's a 2! It's right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then. Answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the door or corridor on... There's a 1 on the floor in the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Gah! And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, on the opposite side of the Space Museum. And now we know that the two astronauts escaped from the Space Museum. The mystery from the previous trial, previous trial, how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Tyrion carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle floor. Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you think someone could have noticed would have noticed an event of this magnitude? Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There was no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Oh yeah, you were trying to... No more lies, Dr. Cosmos. It's high time for you told us the truth. Yeah. My honor, my glory. Everything is slipping away. Galactic energy. Honestly, same. Honestly, if I had to go out anyway, I would want to be murdered in the tense way of the tense way I get murdered. That takes that would be like an Ace Attorney case. Bailiff, on your scene after that witness. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Dr. Cosmos, do you admit that you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched to launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. Ah, it's good to hear those words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Tyrion had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medications. Either way, Mr. Tyrion would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum. That has been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Tyrion feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I would like Dr. Cosmos to tell us why he switched to 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have had one heck of a reason not to want to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director receive his stars. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it. What don't you get? Director, why did you do all of that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But if I had to do it to protect this, I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive. It's the other person in the... Yeah, this is the silence that I was really terrified of. You're not going into space, Starbuck. But prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there was a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person that escaped via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. Ah, he's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What? Me? Ah! Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast upon your blood. Gah! I'm going to die. I want to die in space. Oh, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Thanks, Fulbright. Now that you know now you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackquill. In justice we trust. That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can be none other than in justice we trust. Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust. Detective Fulbright? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. You're just in time, actually. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. Wow. Champion of justice, everybody. Bobby Fulbright. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice is a sure full-time job. Was it a fight between cats or why are you here again? If every detective was like Fulbright, the world would be a place. It would definitely be a place. Indeed. Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I make sure that justice is served. In justice we trust! I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope. But it looks like you are succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. Thanks to you two, I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm gonna work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. I didn't think he was serious, though. It's Fulbright. In justice we trust. I'm getting full use of that asset. We should. I'm forgetting. I am blanking currently on who made that, but you should definitely check the credits and make sure to support them because they are awesome. And this asset is awesome and great and lovely, and I love it. In justice we trust. So what is it, detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbucks is innocent? Is it? It is indeed. Hey, look at this! What's this? A lighter? That's right. A lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim clearing its name Tyrion's blood on it, along with the killer's fingerprints on it. What? Gah! Order! Order! Detective Fulbright. Can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent! This is it! This is just what I needed. Lighter. Your Honor, this is the spice of evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where the slider was found. Based on that, we can accelerate after the killer murdered Mr. Tyrion. They escaped with the lighter in hand to the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through the boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmo has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't possibly have been the one to drop the lighter there. Silence. But the defendant had the free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time? You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified right after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter. He went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could have only been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints are nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. Gah! This does indeed appear the decisive evidence that proves the defense's claim. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume that it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No. There must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow would be the statute of limitation. Silence. Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's Friday, and it's going to be a great day because I get to play Genshin all day long because I have the day off! I'm not going to play Genshin all day. I'm going to be doing, I want to do other things other than just play Genshin. Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say that the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. Yeah. Don't we all just wish we had a day off every once in a while? I'm lucky I get to go do it. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty. Nailed it! We did it. I'm also getting next Friday off because I get Jewish holidays off. I'm not Jewish, by the way. The company I work for, the owners are Jewish, so I get Jewish holidays off. I just get tomorrow off because we're just so ahead. And we have like no room to put things in production. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You're all the best. Ooh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. But That's gonna have to wait. Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Objection.
Too late. It's too late to object, isn't it? Okay, mister, I have undone a guilty verdict. It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analyst for the lighter? Huh? The results? Ha ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Well, I wasn't in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbucks, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Astina site. What? So says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? Oh, order, I say, order! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this letter could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how I got there, but I know I'm not the culprit! This can't be happening. Okay, so Asina, welcome to the club of arrested on the suspect of murder. We built our argument based piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? Gah! What have I done? Please forgive me! I'm sorry! Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order! Order! I will have order! Confusion spiraled into the utter chaos. After all, we fought for the truth had turned out cruelly on us to accuse Asina of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of the reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. Yeah. New save file. Well, we're going to return to the game menus because we are going to do that. We're going to continue that next Tuesday. Just trying to find a good...
Please. If you can find a way to make that true, then yeah, go ahead, do it. Take care of it. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna continue. This will be the end. I honestly didn't expect it to be this short, honestly. I thought I would be here for like a few hours. Like, I thought this was gonna be like a 4-hour stream tonight. Because I was like, well, I don't have work tomorrow. I could just finish up Cosmic Turnabout tonight. Regardless, I would have finished it regardless. So anyway, so... I know! That's just how it is sometimes. It's just like, you think it's gonna be short or like... Or something like that. But it's just like, nope. It's gonna be like your normal strength life. So I'm like, okay! So, yeah, this is gonna, everything's gonna be interesting. That's for sure. I will be back. I'm not sure if it's gonna be if we're starting tomorrow or if we're gonna be starting Saturday, but sometime this weekend, I'll just say, I'm going to be joining with Alexa and Random for some Donkapong Kingdom Connect. As I said on Tuesday, do I know what I'm going to get myself into with Donkapong Connect? Absolutely not. But am I going to try to have a good time? Yes. Because at the end of the day, I'm playing games with my friends. Anyways, I don't see anyone whom I can raid, so I'm just gonna end it here, and I'll see you guys either Friday or Saturday, or if anything, next Tuesday for more Phoenix Wright for the start of Turnabout for tomorrow. Good night. Have a good one. I need water.